Look, I think adding Louisville to the Big 12 is just as good a step as the next guy. But before that, they're making themselves heard with Cody Campbell of Texas Tech, saying the SEC and the Big 10 must be stopped now. This is the Dose Grande Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome to the Big 12 squad. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Cougs, Cody Stovall, Locked On Oklahoma State, Mountaineer Paul, Tubby, ? I didn't say it. He Locked On West Virginia, and Philip Mulford, brand new Locked On Sun Devils to the Dose Grande squad. Thank you for making our shows your first listen every single day. We will start with the SEC and the Big 10, the big bad dogs. Done? Is there a watchdog now? Do we finally can we put a stop to their reign of terror? If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. The news this week, Cody Campbell pairing with Louisville. And Louisville wrote a big, long article about this. This comes from their administration saying, you know what? We're done. The Big Ten and the SEC have taken over for too long, and they are dismantling college athletics. If we do not do something now, it will be too late. John Kurtz has talked about this, saying Cody Campbell has their ear, and the SEC and the Big Ten are now writing a response paper, and they're going back and forth. Effectively, I think we're finally all coming to terms with the fact of the government, as much as I am not usually pro-government stepping into things, nope, this is one of those where, like, the government's going to have to step in. Otherwise, the Big Ten and the SEC are going, what the hell are you eating, Paul?
He's got to play the part now. There's a role here.
That's good, man. Get like a fruit roll-up, or what do you got going on there, Paul?
It's a reason.
A what? What does
reason?
that even mean?
It's a reason.
It's like only in West Virginia kind of thing?
Is that a grandma candy?
What
That's a
the
grandma
hell
candy.
is
I have
that?
never heard of that.
So
Hey,
I had
hold on. You got to
noodles
blur that
earlier.
out. We can't give free pub. Sponsor us.
No.
Like,
What
we
are
got
we
candy.
I had steak and
doing?
noodles earlier,
He's-
and it was pulling the steak out of my teeth, and I didn't know you guys could hear it. Sorry.
These have been defunct for like 30 years. Paul's eating a very it's stale, and this could kill a regular human being, but Paul is superhuman.
It's
Where did-
required for my yeah. So
Is this
I
a
have an
medicine?
abnormal-
What is this?
I have an abnormal gut. My
Philip, we don't
microbiome-
normally go off the rails this quickly, by the way.
I was brought in. They said, "Hey, look, it's a great group of guys. We're going to talk about sports."
Yeah.
And apparently, I learn about old MREs that Tubby found that
There
Paul
we go.
found somewhere,
You nailed it.
deep in the mountain hollers.
But you have come around.
and that's how Mel Gibson came up with the Passion of the Christ.
Very true.
Okay,
Very,
good enough.
very true.
Did
Full
you make
circle.
this yourself, like in your basement? Where did this come from? I've
Well,
never heard
I mean,
of
Hey, why are we
used
talking
to-
about Paul's basement right now when we're supposed to be talking about the SEC?
it.
All right.
And we'll get there. But Paul, just for the listeners who are listening, just showed us Google a German brand of individually wrapped chewy chocolate caramel candies covered in 45% cocoa dark chocolate. I've never heard of this in my life. You just whipped out some German chocolate on the show.
And he didn't bring enough for the class. That's the big problem
I
here.
don't think I don't even think I want any. I'm scared of this.
several in my mouth at one time.
Hey-o.
Speaking of MREs,
Heard that before. There we go. I think we can all, and look, we'll talk today on we will talk on today's show about West Virginia, the bubble, and how ESPN has kind of boxed out the Big 12 on plenty of different subjects. But at TCU in the bubble, the list goes on of Big 12 schools that are not getting the respect they deserve. But this whole Big 10 SEC thing is legit. Like, they've got the national networks, Fox and ESPN, by the cojones. They've got Fox and ESPN in their mouths, and they are doing whatever they can to take college football where they want it to go. And the Big 12 is not included in that.
yeah, of course. And the sanctimonious nature in which the Big Ten and the SEC are pretending to operate about how, they don't need somebody else coming in and changing the landscape of college football because it was already changed in 1984. I don't know if you read the write-up that they paid to have put together, but it was absolute nuts to see them, of all people, pretending that they're here to protect college football. So if we change stuff, it would be bad for college football. It's la la land, fellas.
I mean, look, I'm already here a refugee from the Pac-12. We already had it happen to me once as an ASU guy. Like, thank you USC for breaking that up. I know they want more money here, guys, but can I at least have like 3 years in a conference before it gets blown up again?
Can I ask a question, please? Someone.
Go ahead, Drake.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Cody. Tenure. I think Cody's the longest tenured one of all of us here. Philip, new guy, Phil. Hey. So welcome to the Big 12 squad. Do you think that the Big 12 is in danger of falling apart here in the next couple of years? What do you feel about the stability of the Big 12 conference, new guy, Phil?
I don't know. I did pulling this all out there. I think it really depends on how much regulation we can get involved with this, because on the one hand, you have teams like Notre Dame that are saying, look, we're in the college football playoff regardless of what happens. If we are ranked in the top 50, we deserve to be in there because we are just holier. We are so good at this.
Yeah.
Holier than Notre Dame.
I don't know how that happened.
I like where you're going with that.
You're going to guarantee. You're going to
You got Nick
guarantee our
Saban
way
saying
in.
that, like, if Alabama exists, they probably should be in the playoffs. Like, there's so many headwinds working against whoever's not the SEC and the Big Ten.
Correct.
That, I have no doubt that we're going to go to some, unless there can be something done to stop it, unless there's popular sentiment saying, hey, we like regional conferences, we like having rivalries. You're going to have some Super League. It's going to be the big SEC or whatever, and it's going to have the top 15 teams of the country, and everyone else is going to be just sitting here eating raisins.
German chocolate.
Not a bad secondary option, if you ask me.
Paul is pro Ryzen. Actually, so I think Philip makes a great point here, and let's go there next. It is the reason we're going to break here and go to, because I want to flesh it out. Josh Pate posted a list of if he could change college football tomorrow and go back to conferences that make sense, because they do not make sense that Rutgers is playing UCLA. If we could go back and do it over again, here's how he would do this. I'll tell you. This is the Dose Grande squad.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated St. John's 85-49 on Sunday at Madison Square Garden, extending its winning streak to 47 games. The Huskies capped a perfect 31-0 regular season, including 20-0 in the Big East. UConn is winning by nearly 38 points per game, the third largest average margin in Division I history. Since 1999 to 2000, UConn has 9 undefeated regular seasons, as many as all other programs combined, and has turned 6 of those into national championships. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
All right, gents. So here is what Josh Pate proposed. This is still alive, by the way. Josh Pate is alive. Let's get paid. The Everydayer Club. If you listen to Locked On Big 12 every day or Locked On Cougs every day, you can go to Supercast. Hold on. LockedOnBig12.supercast.com. LockedOnWestVirginia.supercast.com. Locked On insert name here.supercast.com for the everydayers. You can get ad-free Locked On every day. LockedOn.supercast.com. And Josh Pate. This is his proposal. He wants to, hold on. Let me make this clearer for you guys, because you're all going to complain that you can't see it. He wants to revamp college football via his own expansion plan. And I am now proposing the idea to you guys of whether or not this is the way to go. If we could go back yesterday and make it all right, if we could start over, West Virginia shouldn't be in the Big 12. If we could start over, Arizona State shouldn't be in the Big 12. They should be in a conference with BYU, with Utah, and with USC. And guess what? West Virginia should be in a conference with Pitt and Louisville and Virginia Tech. If we could go back and do it all over again, we would do it. It would make a whole lot more sense. But we ruined it, that we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, obviously. However, if I could vote right now, wave a magic wand and go back to this, to have regionality in college athletics, to have regionality in sports, I would do it. None of you are on the screen, but you can begin speaking now.
So I gotta say that I love having a big Josh Pate story. It feels like he hadn't been in the news a lot lately, and I love having
Stop
more
it.
Josh Pate things to talk about, especially because Drake, I feel like, if anyone would know about needing to redo and put toothpaste back in a tube and just go back in time, Josh Pate absolutely is the guy to want to do it. Now, I will say, as Locked On Cougs host, we've talked when Houston got to the Big 12 by this 30-year gap. The Southwest Conference falls apart. Houston gets left out of the Big 12. They're still trying to recoup all of the time lost. There's a generation of fans that are now donating to all your programs that never happened at Houston, right? I do think, though, that Southwest Conference thing you just had, like, that's the water cooler talk at every job around here all the time, is this hypothetical matchup between the burnt orange school and the maroon school, and like all those, like, that still is the conversation happening in Texas, is the surrounding states. It's like, okay, well, who would win between SMU and Texas, or Texas Tech and Texas, or whatever, in a given year? Or in basketball right now, you'd have Houston and Baylor and whatever, talking like the same kinds
Arkansas,
of conversation.
yeah, it'd be fun.
And I like the regional aspect of this was so great for so long. And as someone who got left out of it once upon a time, it'd be great. It does make this kind of feel like we just got here for nothing, like Phil pointed out a second ago, right? Like, wait, we all just got to this 4 mega conference, like, 4 gigantic 16 plus team leagues. And like, it feels like, how far can you really try the experiment before you call it completely failed? As someone who just got there, it feels kind of, wait, hold on. We're already backing up now. We just got there.
I would say Cincinnati's the only one that we've added to the Big 12 that hasn't carried weight yet.
Agreed, but
everyone else has done something.
I mean, Utah is a hypothetical.
What has Utah done?
Yeah, the hypothetical something, right?
They won 10 games this year.
When I look at that Josh Pate thing, it validates that he absolutely hates the Big 12 or the origination of the Big 8. Because why is he putting Utah? I'm so flipping tired of Utah. I do not want to be with them, next to them, a part of them. Get them. I'd rather be Rice and be next to Houston than be playing. Get this Utah business out of here.
Look, I'll take Utah back. Okay. You put ASU back in the Pac. He yells at the Pac-10. I hated those games because they killed every promising ASU season in the last 5 years. But I'll take Utah. That's fine. I just want to go crush Oregon's dreams in the desert every year. And we don't get that anymore. You of course you talk about these matchups that don't make sense. Why in the world is Stanford in the ACC?
Because Josh Pate can do whatever he wants.
No, like they're back in the Pac-10. That's fine. You talk about egregious prospects of these 4 mega conferences. Why in the world are there 2 California schools in the ACC?
I'm assuming Josh Pate still had something to do with this.
To be fair, those California schools are at least on a coast. Those ponies in Dallas have zero. I mean, there's not even a lake, really. I mean, there's not a whole lot of water there.
Gotta.
We got White Rock Lake. Yeah.
Hey, did they put where did they put West Virginia in that graphic, Paul? Did he throw you back in the ACC?
It was back in the Big East, which we're missing a few schools there that, like Maryland, West Virginia, and Maryland go back a long way rivalry wise. But obviously,
with the Rutgers, that might be worse than Utah. My bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, no. USF would. I mean, if you're going to bring back the Big East, USF was actually ranked as high as number 2 in the country when they were in the Big East. They were really good at one point in time. But I mean, I'm not. Obviously, they're not in a Power 4 conference now. I get it, but obviously for West Virginia, Virginia Tech and Pitt, there's 100 years of history on both sides of that. There's a ton of regionality involved in that. I think it's simple things in life are what people care about. Can I drive to the game or not? Or do I have to book a flight and call off work? It's so simple, and yet they still F it up. It's crazy. The ability to drive to to Blacksburg, or the ability to drive to Maryland, or the ability for them to drive to Morgantown. Pitt's an hour away. Virginia Tech's 2 hours away. It's insane, the hatred too.
I was real worried about where you're about to say you were driving, Paul. So I'm glad you clarified there. The second one, I will say though, the other thing, and this is probably unique to Texas, is that like Lubbock and Houston are still like 10 hours away. That's probably unique to the geography of the region, but like Tulane and Tech in that Southwest Conference thing, going from New Orleans to Lubbock, that's a long way and still feels like there's a regionality to it that I kind of think works, right? Like it's not necessarily just driving distance, right? There's more to it than just that.
There's also, you're in the same time zone, right? It's one thing to say, I can't drive from Lubbock to middle of nowhere, Louisiana. That's fine. But I don't have to stay up until 2 a.m. to watch my team play. I don't have to go to, I have a job. I can still follow ASU. Like, obviously, if I'm an ASU alum and I live on the East Coast, that's a different thing. But, I shouldn't, these conference games that are all over the place, it's a lot easier for me to follow if it's in the time zone of the school that is playing.
Correct. That's a great point. Also, we can take 2 minutes on this. If you have a politician on your show, because you know what, I'll say it. I think a couple of us have had Josh Pate on our shows. I like Josh Pate. I have his phone number. Always been great to me. Always been great to me.
Yeah, me too.
There is a dividing line of like, hey, this person's a politician. 50% of people are going to react to this negatively. 20%, 30%, 40%. You start to weigh the odds of that percentage, right? Ultimately, Pate deleted the video with the president. That's always like. I'm pro. Don't delete. Like, leave that thing up. Let it.
I didn't know that.
Let the conversation. Don't delete the thing. Don't wave the white flag.
Drake,
stand by
to
your
be
decision.
clear, he didn't delete the full episode. There was just like a
Correct.
split off, right? Like the
He
full
deleted
episode's still up, I think.
So it'd be like Locked On Big 12 posts. Here's the best segment, so that you can just digest what you came to see. And the idea there would be for Pate or Locked On Big 12. This is the magnum opus. This is what you go and see. I think a lot of the listeners of this show, of our shows, listen to Josh Pate. I'm not berating you for listening to him.
Right.
I'd say in a spot like this, the president invites you to the White House. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan, George Washington. Go to the White House. Do whatever. Make your own personal decision. Do whatever you like. Have a relationship with the president. That's fine. I think the second you bring it into your listenership, and you don't center it around sports. I listened to the interview, and it was not really about sports either. That's
NFL
what I'm
kickoffs.
like. Yeah, but that's what I'm like. Okay, maybe we don't. You just don't have to do that. You don't have to alienate 30% of your listenership. It was just a bad interview.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to expand his horizon a little bit there. That was my thought when I watched it.
But
maybe
man,
he was trying to get into another medium. Maybe
what
he
a
missed.
risk. It
is a risk.
Well, and
I haven't seen it yet, but I assume Trump being a sports dude, they would talk a lot of sports. So I
They
figured
talk some.
it would make some sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
the pipeline from college football to the Senate is.
Condoleezza Rice.
I
Can I
thought
say one
that's
other
where
thing?
Drake- I
Josh at
thought
Tuberville. I think though that Drake, the thing, and I mean, you hit a lot of points. So I'm saying you missed something on purpose. The thing that you missed though is Pate had to that point been pretty adamant about like, hey, let's just talk ball, right? Like that. I think that was kind of his being was like, I'm the guy that just talks ball.
Right, yeah, regular sports guy. Pate's just the normal sports guy. No,
Right. Remember,
ESPN
though,
politics.
He
did
started
feel
out
like
talking ball, and Trump didn't know what the heck he was talking about. Like, he was struggling to keep up in some of the areas.
Oh, that's going to happen.
Oh, really?
You can't ask Trump. Hey, what do
I
you
think he
about,
pivoted though
wide
because
zone?
it was obvious that there was a disconnect. You know what I mean?
I'll be darned.
I don't know if that's why he pivoted or not. I'm not trying to make excuses for Josh,
Probably.
I need to go listen to it.
but it was clearly Trump was not fully. He didn't understand everything that he was asking about.
Which I think that's why you ultimately probably like, hey, this is not something. And surely the president reached out. His office reached out to Pate. I can't imagine Josh is just emailing every politician waiting for the opportunity. And you weigh that, right? You weigh the cost analysis of this. Pate weighed it. He did it. It blew up in his face a little bit.
It will be tantalizing.
I mean, if you're
Yeah,
trying to tell me that they didn't have a list of subjects they were going to go over, like
I think it was impromptu in a way.
checked by the
I don't know.
by the media office.
Right. I don't think they would just give him they
No, they're
brief
not
that
giving him a blank
stuff
slate
to
on
a
that.
T. Yeah, they brief that stuff to a T. And I think Pate has to understand this guy doesn't know ball like that, which also fine. I don't need my politicians to know Fernando Mendoza's 40 time. I don't need that. I don't really care. Then it's a matter of, okay, if that's not going to add to your sports conversation for the sports guy, then it's not really like, hey, if Pate says I have my separate podcast, the Josh Pate Show of Josh Pate and the world. Yeah, dude, to talk about politics. I don't care if outside your sports show,
Yeah,
you have
makes
whatever
total
beliefs
sense.
you want. You know,
I actually assumed the intersectionality would be this Cody Campbell and will the government get involved? I figured that would be
That's
the
good.
bulk
That's
of
good,
that
yeah.
conversation.
no, not really.
Did they not
Yeah.
touch on that? I thought they
Yeah,
touched
but
on it.
it wasn't really a focal point. It wasn't like a memorable
Yeah.
piece of, hey, this,
Right.
what's going to happen. But
It-
good discourse. Good
It
discourse.
was more
This
like
is-
my friend was Nick Saban, right? Like it was like
Yeah,
kind
it's-
of like he
it's
knows
pretty-
some people.
But again, hey, credit to most of you guys for at least watching it and at least giving it a shot, just to see, because that open-mindedness to me is an important thing in sports and politics. You mix the two, you take a risk, and I'm still going to listen to Josh Pate. I'm still going to watch Josh
Absolutely.
Pate.
We tune in the next
Still-
episode.
yeah.
I got to turn it
Still,
off. Yeah.
still going to text him whenever I feel like, hey, I really need Josh Pate's thoughts on this. Coming up, the bubble. We're recording this Monday, releases on Thursday, but the bubble is probably not going to change much. We're probably still going to be in a really crappy situation. Why is that? Locked On Big 12 Squad. Hey, today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time's exactly where I go when I need tickets. I wanted to go to the Grand Ole Opry last week, and I'd been once, but never to a show there. So what did I do? I went to Game Time. It's a Game Time. I need a seat deal. Game Time says, I got a seat deal for you. Oh, and by the way, if you want to watch a little college basketball next weekend, do that too. Go to the Big 12 tournament. Go watch the regular season finale. Go see it with Game Time. The Game Time guarantee means 100% legitimate tickets. The seat view from your seat's a game changer. See the panoramic view from the exact seat that you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets. Game Time. Use my code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code Locked On for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Do it today. Today's show is also brought to you by, I had like 7 of them today, and I feel great. 5-hour energy. 5-hour energy is the peak, man. It keeps me going. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day to host a radio show, and it's tough because the games end the night before at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I have a lot of 5-hour energy. My flavor draft, pick number 1, I'm going with, have to, said it every show, and I mean it. It is the favorite of this show. Strawberry banana. Tropical delight. Sweet strawberry flavor, mellow banana finish, smooth, creamy profile. Right now, you can find strawberry banana, 5-hour energy with those shots to give you a boost with 0 sugar. A lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned as well. Find your new favorite 5-hour energy shots available at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon, 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Paul, let's go to you. And again, recording on Monday night with intention to release on Thursday. So things could have happened. But I think even if West Virginia, we'll say, lost to Kansas State earlier this week in a game that will happen, I don't care. If we're going to let Auburn at 16-15, 5-11 in SEC play get into March Madness and have West Virginia so distant, like Joe Lunardi has West Virginia grouped with Baylor somehow. I do not understand how we're not allowing the middle of the pack in the best conference in America to have, like, if Colorado at 16-13, 6-10 in Big 12 play had that record in the SEC, which is a worse conference, Joe Lunardi would have them in March Madness. That is a problem. That is a serious problem.
I mean, it kind of feels like the committee owes us one a little bit, right? I mean, after last year, after every single bracket, bracket matrix had never missed. Every single bracket had West Virginia in. And because of Mr. Bubba Cunningham, we missed, right? Because his beloved Tar Heels needed in. Obviously, this is we control our own destiny still. I think if we win out, we're in a decent spot. We may need to win one in the conference tournament. It really depends on what the rest of the bubble does. I did some blind resume tests on my show earlier today. I'll give you one really quick. So this is a team that, in my opinion, probably shouldn't be in the tournament, but let's talk about it really quick, because if you look at their record, 19-10, right? Or I'm sorry, 17-12. Nets 41, 2-11 in quad 1, 2-1 in quad 2. Do you know who that is? Anybody know who that is off the top? That would be Indiana, a team with 2 quad 1 wins, 2-1 in quad 2, and somehow they are above West Virginia. Darren DeVries have lost 4 straight games, and they're still in the tournament. Somebody explain that one to me, and you can go Auburn as well. You think Bruce Pearl's probably worth 4 more wins for that team this year if they had kept him around?
Maybe. They're also not as good as they were last year. I think the interesting thing to me is it's the exact inverse of the SEC argument in college football playoff, right? Which is a much smaller field, and they'll tell you that a 3-loss SEC team needs that 10, 11, 12 spot because those 3 losses are just because they play in the SEC. Well, the inverse of that is exactly this in the Big 12 with basketball. TCU has beaten some very good teams, played Michigan down to a nail biter, and ultimately is going to sit at about 500 in this league, right? Like that's the way that goes. They lost to a bad Colorado team that is probably going to keep them around 500, right? Truthfully, they took Michigan down to the wire, and Michigan's going to be a 1 seed. Like, you're telling me they couldn't have an upset in the first weekend if you gave them the same chance? And it feels like the exact same argument, but it's not being applied for, dollars or whatever you want to put it on. Meanwhile, I would point out, while I'm talking about I brought up dollars, the Big 12 is doing very well in terms of TV ratings in basketball, right? Like, Big Mondays, the Big 12, the teams are doing very well. Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, like prime time Big 12 basketball is doing very well. You'd think this would start to spin at some point, and it's not.
Got to win it, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in West Virginia's case, I'm sorry, Philip. In West Virginia's case, you have to win out, right? I mean, and the thing is no Big 12 team has never been above 500 and missed, right? I've got some people telling me that if we win out and we're 10-8, we're probably still going to miss. That's what people are telling me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Philip.
It's like,
sorry, I don't mean to step on Arizona State's toes here. I look at the conference though. You mentioned West Virginia sitting there at 8-8. Is there any doubt that BYU at 8-8 would get in though for the TV dollar because we want to see DeBonsa in the tournament?
That's
right?
it.
I mean,
you nailed it.
It is silly.
And this is pushback just a tad. It should open the conversation up to 8-8 isn't all made the same based on non-conference. Like, BYU has beaten some of the best teams in college basketball, or at least played them close. Right, like UConn. That's a game they're going to use. That and so yes, this is the difference though to me of where BYU could be a 5 or 6 seed and West Virginia should be a 7 seed. Like, I don't even think West Virginia should just squarely be in.
Right, I'm arguing that they should both be in. I'm sorry if that wasn't like
okay.
If one is, they should both be. But anyway,
just based off our quad 1 wins, I feel like we should be in. You know what I mean? We've won some really good games. We've beaten Kansas. We've beaten UCF. We've now beaten BYU. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of silly. It's the silly, and we've kind of touched on it, the silly losses, the Utah, the Oklahoma State. That's what's killing us.
Terrible, but
it's
the Utah. 2. It's the Baylor. It's the home losses to bad teams. In relative to where you want to be as far as Big 12 schools and their status, like I'd say Baylor's a bad team right now. Certainly good spurts. But that's anybody in the Big 12. Oklahoma State on their best day could beat Kansas in Stillwater because it's the Big 12. Our basketball is that deep. I believe that, and also it's probably because Darren Peterson won't play that game.
Baylor has 2 lottery
talk
picks.
About perception being a big deal in football. Let's say that Houston beats Florida for the Natty in basketball last season. Does that change this conversation at all?
I don't know.
What do you
maybe?
And while
the
I would
money's
love that
ahead of it.
Obviously,
I don't think it does.
I think what's interesting though, Cody, is like, Houston is 60 seconds away from a title, right? But Tech was also up double digits down the stretch in their Elite 8 game, and then you could add 2 Big 12 Final Four teams who were that close to that. And you've had Big 12 teams actually win it recently in Kansas and Baylor, and Tech was in the final in 2019. So while I guess they didn't win it last year, the Big 12 has had success. Like, it's not quite apples to apples to me.
I know, but it feels like other conferences, if we give them an excuse to bury the Big 12, they're going to do it every time.
Yeah.
Here's my question. How much of this flows down from other sports, right? So yes, Big 12, great basketball year. In the past couple of years, we've been very good. Even if ASU has kind of got to throw that in there. But football is, if basketball money is here, football money is off my screen. Right. And we all know the SEC, it just means more. They have the big football dollars. We were talking about this at the start of the show. How much of this is, well, even if we're going to take Auburn, for example, even if Auburn is mid to poor, kind of okay at basketball, they have such a big fan base from their other sports that the calculus says they're going to bring more money into the broadcast. They're going to bring more viewership in than a very good Texas Tech team that, it is a newer school, newer program. Maybe it doesn't have that level of, well, we're Auburn, right? War Eagle. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think there is something to that for sure. And I did think, when you look at, like, I'll use West Virginia one more time. You look at what West Virginia has had to go through over the last 4 years. You're on your 4th coach in 4 years.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely part of this is that just the flying, like I said on your show the other day, Drake, the flying WV used to have a lot of brand power. And it's lost a lot of brand power in both major sports over the last half decade or a little more. After Bob Huggins was let go unceremoniously, and when Neil Brown took over, unfortunately. So we got work to do. We're hoping to regain some of that in the next couple of years because time is running out.
Yeah, good. I think that's a great spot. And of course, Paul, who is our wise sage and doctor, to end us on a high note. Thank you, Mountaineer Paul and Parker Greensworth, Cody Stovall.
And we're a hockey school now, Drake.
And Oklahoma State's a hockey school. Go build that rink.
I thought
buddy.
he was wrestling.
If you hit subscribe, we all get to keep our jobs. Thank you for making our shows your first listen every single day. This has been and always will be Locked On. You know what? Whatever. Thanks again for making it your first listen every single day. The Dose Grande Squad.